You ain't no Israelite, but you a gospelite, bitch. What you talking about? If that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. How can I keep that stick loaded? But he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think? Well, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bought it. UPK, you solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy. Think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. Sharp on shit, I'm about it. UPK too solid. Fuck nigga don't want war. It ain't enough clips in your army. All the bitches wanna take my piece. All they hoes wanna take my piece. All the nigga wanna take my piece. No, I can't let a dog take it from me. I can't let a dog take it from me. You a hoe study and you dummy. And these bitches really out this bitch walk around like they don't know nothing. And a lame nigga fall for them and get set up for the coins and get gunned down, man down. Should've took the time, get a damn no. But I see the shawty and I show her. She could never get a priest hold. You a dirt ass, rust ass neck bitch with a fake ass jury. In Tennessee while I'm touring. It's a Tennessee, but she luring. And a sucker duck bitch ass boy, fuck nigga over that bitch mugger. I say, if that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. How can I keep that stick loaded? But he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think? Well, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK, you solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy. Think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. You a lame nigga down to me. Eat candy, but I'm sucker free. You a little nigga, ain't none of me. Base up, boy, I fit a beat. Yeah, AR-223. Draco with a magazine. Yeah, the clip look like limousine. I shoot your ass in the spleen. Boy, I bust your ass in the temple. We debating by the temple. Tell the truth, boy, you's a victim. You squirm off like a lizard. Nigga walk down my road. Why does nigga come down my road? Boy, come down my road. Boy, I charge your ass toll fee. I'm a real big priest, nigga. UBK play for keys, nigga. Commander General get a damn order, but ain't nothing me to damn kill you. I stuck his ass like a cat. All weapons, boys full of tech. Boy, like a close combat. Nigga got popped off for a neck. If that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. How can I keep that stick loaded? But he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think? Well, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK, you solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy. Think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. Christ said 7 women gonna be.
All right, clap it up. All right, Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Junior Hanna. Today is ISUPK Austin's scripture breakdown class, of course. Today we're going to be going over, Judith in the Bible, in the scriptures, in the Apocrypha, whose name is Yahweh in Hebrew, right? Daughter of the Lord, right? We're going over her because she's a really good example of how women should be in the truth and how our women should be today. She's a sister who, through the hands of the Lord, saved her people from a tough situation and then had to sacrifice her integrity or her, put shame on herself to do it that way. A lot of our sisters believe in today's time that in order to get your point across, you got to go and twerk for votes. And, it sounds crazy when I say it, but that is the fact. You have mayors, people running for office who are black women, got to go twerk for people to vote for her. You know what I'm saying? We have other situations where women go out there and march, the slut walk, stuff like that. And they think they got to literally get naked and show their nakedness to get a point across. When no other nation or no other race of people out there in the world have their women doing that. No other race of people have their women on the forefronts with their nakedness being shown to get a point across. But our people got to be the ones fighting for the things that goes against God. We got to fight for a woman to have multiple husbands. We have a fight for a woman to be able to have her titties out. We have to fight for a woman's ability to abort her child. And that's all against God. And we're going to show you how to be a woman that God respects. A lot of us go out there, we want to be, somebody, you want to be somebody that somebody else respect. But why would you want God's respect? That's the question. Why would you want God's respect? And if you want God's respect, we're here to show you how to do it. All right. Now, Yahadia had just logged off. I'm just gonna wait for him to join back. We can read. I think he's joining up right now. All right. All right, Most High in Christ. You Tawab?
Con, you can hear me now?
I hear you now.
Most High in Christ.
Right. Shalom on Christ, priest.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna start at Judith in the Apocrypha, chapter 1, verse 1 today. We're gonna just read it out there. We're gonna break that down. A lot of people don't know about this story. Why? Because it's in the Apocrypha. You know, everybody, bring up other sisters in the scriptures. This is a hardcore sister right here. And she did everything in the spirit of the Lord. And we're going to break that down today.
Damn right. Judith 1:1 or 1:12?
1:1.
This is the book of Judith, chapter 1, verse 1 in the Apocrypha.
Mm-hmm.
In the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who reigned in Nineveh, the great city, in the days of
Arphaxad,
which reigned over the Medes and
Medes,
which reigned over the Medes and Ecbatane.
Yeah, no sweat. So basically, what the brother's reading is how through times, when you look at maps and things, a lot of people don't know the Bible, so they think the Bible is a made up book. But the Bible is very much real, meaning that these people kept records, and they kept records of certain lands they was in, who was ruling over them. Now, besides, after Israel had his own kings, we had heathens over us. It's kind of like today, we was to write down that say, in the second year of the reign of Joe Biden in the great city of New York, right? We got to understand something. We was not ruling at this place, but we still alive at this time. So we got to write records of who's in charge. Now we finna read down how the reason why it's so important them letting them know what's going on, because it's gonna show you this part shows you how evil these people are. It's letting you know who this person was, what's going on, and makes you kind of paint a picture of that time period, right? You got it up? And also, a quick thing, not too much off topic, but look how it said in the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, right? This is how they kept time back in the day. They always use it in the years of kings and people who reigns. So they said in 12th year of this man, 5th year of this man, 6th year of this man. It wasn't like it's 2005 or 19. It kept it by the years of the kings, right? And this is the main king who ruled over lands. Remember, people go and conquer people, right? So this is letting you know who's going to be the problem man today. This is the man that's going to be the problem. Now jump down to Judith 2 and 4. Realize we already established. Why is it bringing up the Nebuchadnezzar and where he reigned? It's because letting you paint the picture who's the superpower right now, right? Who's the oppressor right now? Who's the oppressor that we're going to be talking about, right? Just like if I was writing records today, we would mention America, Joe Biden, and all that, because that's our chief oppressor. That's the man who runs the world at that time, right? Joe Biden would be the so-called king in this situation, right? I just want to make sure everybody understand that, right? Because this is about history. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't read the Bible for history. They read it for, what they call it, prosperity doctrine. So if you can find a scripture to write on they sport shoes or something, we'll get a tattoo of. Good night. 2 and 4.
It's the book of Judith, chapter 2, verse 4. And when he had ended his counsel, Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, called Holofernes, the chief captain of his army, which was next unto him, and said unto him.
Right. So this is what Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, told to his chief captain. Right. Keep going.
Verse 5. Thus saith the great king, the Lord of the whole earth,
So he's saying he's the Lord over the whole earth. Why? Because he's the king. Is he our king? No. Joe Biden is the king over the what? Whole earth. But is he our king? No, he's our enemy. Just because he's the king doesn't make him our king. Keep going.
Behold, thou shalt go forth from my presence, and take with thee men that trust in their own strength.
That what?
And take with thee men that trust in their own strength.
You know what's funny? You gotta pay attention. Like this is quoting heathens, like what heathens are talking about, right? And see how their whole mindset is, different from ours from against God. The Lord said, "Don't put your strength in who? Men." This man just said, "Get all the men that trust in their own strength." Right? Keep going.
Of footmen and 120,000.
Right, that's a lot of men right there. Go ahead.
And the number of horses with their riders 12,000.
So these men was gonna go to war, and it's crazy because you gotta understand what you're reading, because majority of the time when people reading the scriptures, they paint the picture of like it's just two people alone in the wilderness. Nothing established. You just people don't a lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's how they look at the scriptures. Keep going.
Verse 6. And thou shalt go against all the west country, because they disobeyed my commandment.
So the Lord has commandments, or what? The things he said do. Their kings at the time have their commandments, right? Now, why is this king saying they disobey my commandments? Because he want everybody to bow down and worship him, serve him. So Joe Biden came right now and said, well, I want everybody to bow down and worship me. Put pictures in your room. I want you to, matter of fact, I want everybody to eat pork. Everybody has to eat pork. And if you don't eat pork, what's going to happen to you? You're going to die. Now, what would be our response? We go like, well, you're going to have to kill me, right? Keep going.
Verse 7. And thou shalt declare unto that they prepare for me earth and water. For I will go forth in my wrath against them, and will cover the whole face of the earth with the feet of mine army. And I will give them for a spoil unto them.
Keep going.
Verse 8. So that their slain shall fill their valleys and brooks, and the river shall be filled with their dead till it overflow.
Now, this is a man who's already king and ruling over utmost part of the world. He has strong military, strong thing. But what is this about? He is not satisfied with blood. He is not satisfied with blood. He wants the whole entire world. And he's willing to go around and make everybody his slave, make everybody captive, to conquer the entire planet. This is what the oppressor wants to do. This is thousands of years ago from today's time. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like what we have to go deal with? Like, when's enough is enough? Like the scripture said, if somebody was to come and steal some grapes, wouldn't they leave some grapes? Right. I mean, how much do you have to rule? Show America, how much does America has to rule? America came over here and took the land from the so-called Native Indian. And it wasn't enough for him to have this land. So he had to go get us. We had to go get us. We had to go get the other tribes of Israel. Right? Because it's not enough. Now, we are the people oppressed, and we're the ones that God only cares about. I say that right now. Why? Because America oppresses everybody. We just don't give a damn about everybody oppressed, because it's us, it's America on top, and what? Us on bottom. So America could oppress everybody underneath them, but who's carrying all that weight? The person on the bottom. Right? So America oppresses everybody, and it's like this man right here this king Nebuchadnezzar went over there and wanted and colonized the whole world, conquered the whole world, and a little bit wasn't enough. Already being strong wasn't enough. You got to go in there and make people want to serve you. Right? Keep going, because we got a lot to read too. So I'm not gonna keep too much on that before we get to the good parts.
Verse 9.
Go to Judith chapter 4, verse 1. So now where we at? We got Nebuchadnezzar. He's talking to his captain, right? His captain, he let him know, hey, I'm sending you on a mission. Anybody who don't want to serve me, we're gonna go out there and kill him. What he just did was gave a motivational talk to his people. See how they talk to each other? But we're gonna go over there and we're gonna make all of them captive. We're gonna slay anybody who doesn't want to worship me and serve me and call me their king. I want you to go by all the coast. I want to send you 120,000 men. I want 12,000 men on horses. I want them to storm up anybody. If they don't bow, if they don't bend the knee, kill them. Because I'm the Lord over the whole entire earth. Now go to Judith 4:1.
Book of Judith, chapter 4, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now the children of Israel that dwelt in Judea,
right,
heard all that Holofernes, the chief captain of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, had done to the nations, and after what manner he had spoiled. Salaki?
No, keep going. I'm sorry.
No sweat. Had done to the nations, and after what manner he had spoiled all their temples and brought them to naught.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. No sweat. Verse 2. Therefore, they were exceedingly afraid of him, and were troubled for Jerusalem, and for the temple of the Lord their God.
So, what's going on right now?
Verse 3.
What's going on? We are basically heard of all the things that he sent his captain to do, right? Remember he said, go and conquer these people, captive these people until they blood, shed their blood, do all what you got to do for they could bend a knee. So we doing our own little thing. We heard what's happening. So what you like? Oh, hell no. Think about people that's in the world. Think about people in the world that's doing their own thing, and how you would hear how America's going, America's going around and conquering places. They at war with Russia. They at war with China, South Korea, all these places, right? And they come, but now they're about to start messing with you. So you like, oh man, now your spirit's down. Like they done took down Russia. We ain't no Russia. They done took down South Korea. We ain't them. You were hearing about all these things people doing, so now your people become what? Terrified. They spirit dropped low. Right? Keep going.
Verse 3. For they were newly returned from the captivity, and all the people of Judea were lately gathered together, and the vessels at the altar and the house were sanctified after the profanation.
Yeah, so basically what happened was they just got out of captivity, and they're like looking at here we go again. We just got out of captivity here. Another cruel oppressor. We're gonna go in captivity again, right? That's what they saying, right? Now jump down to go to Judith chapter 5, verse 1.
No sweat. The book of Judith, chapter 5, and verse 1.
Okay, wait, go back to 4 and 4 and read to verse 8. That's important just to give a context of what's going on. So now I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on right now. What's going on? Right. Basically, oppressed the king, like, I'm about to make everybody go and bend the knee. And he sent his chief captain, Holofernes, right, to go and do that act. Right? He sent on the throne, and he just this to go get done. So he's seen this thing happen. Now is the time for the children of Israel. Now the children of Israel is looking like, well, I guess we next. And then we like, man, we just got out of captivity, bro. God damn. So they all like, well, what we gonna do now? We said, we can't do nothing. What's wrong in that thought process? Yeah, you like, we supposed to be the children, and this is the problem, which is why brothers today, we go around and we have the same spirit, but imagine having that same spirit and not knowing who you are. You wouldn't think that you those people. These people know who they was. These people know about their culture, know about their laws and the great oracles that happened unto them. They knew about David and Goliath. They knew about Moses. They knew about King David and Solomon. They knew their history. They knew about all these things. And yet, what they said, oh man, we about to go in captivity again. They didn't even quit the thing like the Lord gonna be with us. So take that same mindset and put it into somebody in the street, a black, Hispanic, Native American in the street. They're gonna be like, ain't no way we could be the children of Israel. Ain't no way. Because they're not even gonna say God's gonna be with me. Keep going.
Book of Judah, chapter 4, verse 4. Therefore they sent into all the coast of Samaria and the villages, and to Betharon and Belman and Jericho, and to Shoba and Asora, and to the valley of Salem. Verse 5. And keep going.
Yeah, drop down to 6.
Drop to 6. No sweat. It's Book of Judah, chapter 4, verse 6. Also, how you say it? How you say his name? Joachim, the high priest, which was in those days in Jerusalem, wrote to them that dwelt in Bethulia, and
Bethel Psalm,
Bethel Psalm, which is over against Esdra Elon, toward the open country, near to
Dotham.
Say again.
Dotham.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 7. Charging them to keep the passages of the hill country, for by them they were at entrance into Judea, and it was easy to stop them, Salakia, that would come up, because the passage was straight for 2 men at the most. Verse 8. And the children of Israel did as Josham, the high priest, had commanded them, with the ancients of all the people of Israel which dwelt at Jerusalem.
Right. So basically what he told them to do, the high priest, the man in charge, he said, I want y'all to go up. And when they was in a place where the only way you could enter was a narrow passage. So how does that help them? Yeah, so that means that I believe it was in the movie 300. That's how they defeated the army too. Basically, so they have 120,000 men coming at them. But if they're in a place where only 2 men can come at a time because it's so narrow, what does that make it? That make it like you could cut them off. So they basically like have the advantage at this point just because of the land where they're at, right? So that's a very smart thing to do. So now they're like, okay, let's just do this. That's what the high priest being a smart man because he's the high priest, told him to do this thing. Now let's see what happens, right? Let's go to verse 5, verse 1.
Judith 5 and 1.
Yep.
Are you said? Okay, that's right. So Book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 1. Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had forfeited all the tops of the high hills, and had laid impediments in the Champagne countries.
Campaign country. So when he's go to verse 2.
Verse 2. Wherewith he was very angry, and called all the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and all the governors of the seacoast.
So remember what? They make a confederate against thee, right? So all these other nations come out there to do what? Oppress the children of Israel. So now what they're doing is basically they're getting mad at the sheep for protecting themselves against the wolf. They like right now, so they're like, man, he's upset because the children of Israel, how dare can you not just sit there and get slaughtered? He's mad at that they actually fought, that they did something smart where they can't really do nothing to him because where they at. So they pissed, they angry, right? Now, go to verse 3.
Verse 3. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Sha'ananan,
Canaan.
Who? No sweat. Who? Say it again.
Canaan.
Oh, Canaan. Who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army?
So what is he saying right now? He's like, who are these people? Where does their power come from? Like, who's in charge of them? Who's their king? Who's their governor? Who's their president? Like, who's their captains and officers? Like, who make these people bold enough to do this? Like, where these people come from? What's the land they dwell in? Like, who is this? Right? So he's inquiring his council. He called everybody, like every other nations. He's like, well, who are these people? Who knows something about these people? How we could defeat them? Right? Keep going.
Verse 4. And why have they determined not to come and meet me, more than all the inhabitants of the west? Verse 5. Then said
Akir.
Some weird name I ain't never seen before. It's a lot. Bear with me.
Good, man. Just say
How he says
Akir.
Achior? Akir, the captain of all the sons of Ammon. Let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries. And there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. Verse 6. This people.
So now he's trying to say who these people are. Keep going. Go.
Verse 6. This people are descendant of the
Chaldeans. Why is it saying we are descendant of the Chaldeans? The Chaldeans are who are the people, would you say, when Abraham left his father's house, there was the Chaldeans. That's what they was, and they served that. Right? That's why it's saying that we are descended from the Chaldeans. Meanwhile, of course, we said we were descended from who? Israel. Why? Because that's our culture. Huh? No, not too much. Like, okay, of course that, but we saying it because it's our culture. Meanwhile, this is a heathen talking right now, so it's a different narrative. Huh? Yeah, they're not gonna talk how we talk. They from Jacob. They don't honor the people we honor. Like these niggas, they from the Chaldeans, They from that people. They from the Chaldeans. Keep going.
Verse 7. And they sojourn heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea.
So what was that saying?
Come again?
And they sojourn heretofore in Mesopotamia because they would not follow the gods of their fathers. Who's it talking about?
Children of Israel?
Abraham. Abraham did not follow the gods of his fathers. They were Chaldeans. They didn't worship the God of. They didn't worship the God. You know, I want to say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but in Abraham's time it wouldn't be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah. But they didn't serve the true living God. Mm-hmm. They didn't serve him. So Abraham left and did what? Left his father's house. That's what counted him for righteousness, because he left his father's house to go and serve God. Right? Where we at?
We at verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read verse 8.
Yeah, keep going.
Verse 8. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven.
Right.
The God whom they knew.
Right.
So they cast them out from the face of their gods. And they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days.
Right.
Verse 9. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan.
Land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is where the promised land was at, right? So first we was dwelling in the land, and then the Lord promised us the Holy Land, the promised land, and that's why you hear a lot about us taking out the Canaanites, because the Canaanites was in our land promised to us of the Most High God, right? Keep going.
No sweat. Where they dwelt and were increased with gold and silver and with very much cattle. Verse 10. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation.
So right now we went into Egypt, right? And we dwelled in the land at that time when the Pharaoh had knew who? Joseph, right? But then what happened? A Pharaoh was raised up that did not know Joseph. He looked at the people like, who the hell these people is getting mighty and strong, who are wise and who have a potential to overtake us, right? So basically what this is doing, this heathen man kind of know our history. So the man inquired like, man, these are the people, these goddamn Hebrews. These niggas that was up in Egypt. These are the people of God. You ever seen that pastor? They're like, don't you dare talk to them black people. He like, don't you dare disrespect black people. Man, I wish I could pull it up, man. Let me pull it up. I might try to pull it up. Hold up, Salakia. Give me 1 second. Keep reading. Oh, here it is right here.
If you're one of the...
Let me see. I'm about to share this. I'm about to share my screen real quick. All right.
Those people that you got problem with white people or whatever, you better shut your mouth. Because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying. You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you is raised in the deep south. If you're one of those people that you got problem with white people or whatever, you better shut your mouth. Because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying. You better shut your white mouth.
Now, Jump to verse.
You better shut their mouth.
Hey, look, this is what this man is saying. Verse 19. This is what remember, this is the council that asks, who are these people? He's laying now the whole I'm not gonna there's a lot of verses I can read, but we want to get down into more into the later on. There's a lot of chapters in this book. But we're gonna see. This is the reason I play that video, because this is what this man done said. He's like naming them. They like, man, they done did this. The guy, they defeated this battle. God was with them with this, with that. The Egypt, they done tore down Egypt. They did all this. So go to verse 19.
Verse 19. But now are they returned to their God, right, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, right, and have possessed Jerusalem,
right,
where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate.
Right, keep going.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So what he's saying, they knew about our history that these people fail about what? By sinning against their God, their power. He asked, what's their power? What's their king? What's their dude? He let them know, hey, they follow a real God. That's why he said what? If he know we didn't follow a real God, he said, if they are sinning, let us go into them. Let us go and overtake them, right? Where you said it again? It says, if there be any error against his people and they sin against that God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up. Meaning that, man, yeah, they sin against their God. It's easy. Easy. We go against them. Yeah, bro, they doing crack. They aborting their babies. You know, they smoking weed. They drug dealers. Man, they eating pork. They celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving. They doing all these things, man. That's it. We got them. We could do anything we want to them, and we're going to win because the God of Israel is not on their side. But remember that pastor said what? I'm going to read verse 21.
Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them.
He said, Lord, please. Who's his Lord? His Lord is that king, that captain of the king. He's like, Lord, I know you inquire these people, but if they are following their God, Lord, please pass by them. Please overlook them. Because, Lord, if they're not sinning against their God, their Lord going to be with them. That's what he said. He told him, hey, let me play this video again. I'm going to show you what he done told him. He said, hey, shut your white mouth.
If you're one of those people that you got a problem with black people or whatever, you better shut your mouth. Because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your mouth.
He said, you better hear what I'm saying to you. You better hear what I'm saying to you, Yahadi. You better not go over them people, because the Lord going to be with them. Don't try them people. Them God's chosen people. Don't try them. Keep reading.
Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
And become a what?
A reproach before all the world.
So, just like they knew that our sin will cause them to win, they knew our righteousness would cause them to lose. And they will become a reproach. And that's what every nation is going to be, is it not? When we be righteous and God comes and save us and hear our cry, everybody's going to be reproached. Who's a reproach today? Us. We're going to look at him like, what the hell? Our children going to look at him like, this is the man. Billy? This cotton picker right here? That's what's going to be happening, man. That's what's going to happen. But this is so heavy that y'all understand something, man. And this is why we're losing the battle, because Black and Hispanic Native Americans, we at war, and we don't think so. Somebody literally just beating us, shooting at us, and we see the person, but we don't think it's coming from him. We're like, nah, it can't be. They must have shot that gun on accident. They must have shot on accident. They're not really coming after us. I mean, this crack cocaine in my neighborhoods, right after they took the factories out, right after I got back from war, after they denied my VA loan. No, this crack cocaine in my neighborhoods. This is not a coincidence. Why we don't think about that? Oh, so like my battery not plugged in.
You said again, Priest?
No, I was saying my battery look like it's not plugged in.
No, you said why we don't think it's a coincidence.
Oh yeah. People Salagia. No, Salagia, y'all. Salagia. Oh, there you go. All right. Oh man, this shit got me hot. All right, y'all. That's all I was saying, Salagia. All right. Mm-hmm. So we at the middle of war. We do not think what I was saying was basically you see things happen to us and you think it's a coincidence without thinking like, man, this might be on purpose. Crack cocaine in the neighborhood might be on purpose. Planned Parenthood in all communities might be on purpose. Them making a woman be free and dour loose and making them go at a slut walk and doing all these different things. A woman don't need a man. This might be on purpose. It might be on purpose because they understand that if we could get you to lose your power, then we have you. Because when you want to defeat somebody, you're taking away their power. And that's the council. You have war councils. They in the middle of a war council going for these people. And the sad thing about it is we helping them out. We like if we was an animal, we wouldn't be good game. What's good game? Is when people go out there and hunt animals and they hunt the hardest animal to catch is the highest game. Like we watching Game of Thrones, right? We was watching the newest one, the House of the Dragon, right? And one that had a white, I forgot what they called that deer, but it was a deer. It was one deer by itself, and nobody see that deer. And if you catch that deer, you kind of like the man. So we became that whole opposite of that. We became the deer that sees the trap and puts our feet in it. So and it's like, come on, when we're going to actually outsmart people, when we're going to actually see that stuff that's happening in our neighborhoods, like, man, this ain't no damn coincidence. This is only happening to us. That's the same thing when we find out who you are. When are you going to start realizing that them slave ships was not no coincidence? Them slave ships being in the scriptures was no coincidence. The curses that's happened to Black and Hispanic Native Americans was no coincidence. When are you going to start happening, man? Now, what happened was, what you think happened to the man who told the captain the truth about these people? Who told the captain we shouldn't mess with them because God will be on their side? What do you think happened to this man? They killed him. They killed the man for speaking the truth, saying we might mess with these people because they're God's people, and God gonna be with them. They like, man, shut your mouth. How weak you are. God ain't with them. Just like in Egypt, like, nigga, who's your God? I don't serve your God. That's your God. I'm stronger than your God. And if we serve God, they will learn a lesson. And it's soon about to be that day, brother, where they're going to learn a lesson for messing with us.
Yeah, right.
They're going to learn a lesson. Now, I'm going to skip down some, y'all.
No sweat.
Now, let's go into Judith. Judith 8:1. So now, I skipped a little bit, but we're going to go to 81 for time's sake. So basically what happened was that, remember, they had a whole council because of what? They couldn't defeat these people because the way they was positioned, the way they was living in their land, right? So what they did was cut off their water supply, basically, to let them So let them starve and let them don't have no water to drink.
Good night.
Right? That's what they did to us. Right? Now,
Okay.
with that being said, you only live a couple of days without water, brother. It was all serving God is cool when you trust in yourself. What do I mean by that? A lot of people say they trust God, but they only trust themselves, which make it easy to trust God. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people will go to war, right? It's kind of like with the David, when he numbered his army. It's like, why are you numbering your army if you trust the Lord? Because if you had a lot of soldiers, then you would like, okay, yeah, we're gonna win this. We're gonna win this now. Lord gonna be with us. Why the Lord gonna be with you? Because you got numbers? When you should be like, well, you should be like, the Lord gonna be with us when you only got a few. So now these people's like, yeah, we good now. They can't get us. We're gonna kill them. Lord be with us. The Lord God of Israel is with us. Now we're gonna see how they react when they are dying of thirst, literally. Read what you got.
Can you hear me?
There's a lot of names in this, so just read the first sentence, then drop down to verse 2.
No sweat. Now at the time Judith heard thereof, which was the daughter of Maari.
Right, drop down. So basically, just showing her, registry, like who she come from. This sister's an important sister, so back in the important men, important women, we had a list of the genealogy. This good night. That is genealogy, Salakia. Just like we read about Matthew, the first page that showed Christ. You know what I'm saying, because it's kind of important to know who people come from, especially when the time of Christ, to show that it gave his basically like his proof that this man should be the king, especially because the prophecy, but he should be from the line of David, and certain men come from a strong line. Like if you come from the house of David, that was a strong line you came from, right? All right, now read what you got. Verse 2.
Verse 2. And Manasseh was her husband, of her tribe and kindred, who died in the barley harvest. Verse 3.
Verse 4. Go to verse 4.
Verse 4. So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months.
Right. So she was a widow, meaning what? Her husband has died, and she did not remarry. So she was a widow. Read verse 7. Drop down to verse 7. We gotta get through this.
Verse 7. So was also of a goodly countenance, and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver, and men servants and maid servants, and cattle and lands, and she remained upon them.
So this sister was wealthy. What her husband had left down, she had good wealth, right? Keep going.
Verse 8. And there was none that gave her an ill word, and she feared God greatly.
Right. So nobody spoke ill of her. She was an upstanding sister, man. She was, she was just somebody respected. Like you never heard a bad thing. Ain't no rumor. Oh, she did this with who did this with what? You didn't hear that about her. What does Scripture say about a good name? A good name is better than precious ointment. That's what the Scriptures say, right? Keep going.
Verse 9. Now when she heard the evil words of the people against the governor, that they fainted for lack of water, for Judith had heard all the words that Ozias had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city unto the Assyrians after 5 days.
Right. So Ozias was the priest, and she heard what Ozias told the people. Basically told the people like, hey, man, we're going to try to thug it out for 5 days. If the Lord don't deliver us in 5 days, then I will go over there and we're just going to, bend a knee. That's what he told the people, right? So she heard this, and her being, a sister who feared the Lord and had the Spirit of the Lord on her, this is what she had said, right? Verse 10, this is what happened.
Verse 10. Then she sent her waiting woman that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Cabris and Carmis, the ancients of the city.
Well-renowned men, the men who's in charge of the city. You know what I mean? Keep going.
Verse 11. And they came unto her, and she said unto them, Hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulia, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which ye made and pronounced between God and you, and have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, unless within these days the Lord turn to help you.
So she's saying, like, the thing you just said was not right. That is not having the spirit of the Lord. I don't know, why would you say such a thing? That's what she's saying. Why? What did you say such a thing? Now, this is a respectful sister. She ain't like, what the hell? She respects. She called them down like, this is not right. I'm telling y'all, this is not right. Why? Keep going.
Verse 12. And now, who are ye that have tempted God this day, and stand instead of God among the children of men? Verse 13. And now try the Lord Almighty, but ye shall never know anything.
So it's like, how you going to tempt God? Like, so what was wrong with what he did? Yeah, what was wrong that he did? Why is Judith like, you wrong in what you did? So what did he do that she's like, you wrong for? Right. He's like, the Lord, basically what he did is like, the Lord works on my time. And that's so important, because there's a lot. That's what Christians are. Christians give the Lord a time period. They're like, well, the Lord don't come help me in this time, I might have to go do this. They give the Lord a time period. So she was like, well, that's a wrong thing to do. Like, you serve the Lord don't serve you. You don't put a time constraint on the Lord. The Lord don't come save us in 5 days and we screwed. The Lord don't bless. That's how people do. The Lord ain't give me no money. I just gotta go smoke this. I just gotta sell this drugs now. The Lord, that's how I gotta get it done. That's the mindset of our people. We supposed to work for the Lord while they go around and make the Lord work for them. They put a time constraint on the Lord. That's all people is about time. That's how everybody is. People always want to know what's the time it's going to take. When we serve the Lord blindly, don't even know when it's going to happen. Could be tomorrow, could be in a minute, or could be in 100 years. We don't know the time Christ is going to come back. Why? Because we do it because we work for him. We serve him. Keep reading.
Verse 14. For ye cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can ye perceive the things that he thinketh. Then how can ye search out God, that hath made all these things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay,
what she said,
my brother.
She said, you can't even understand what men are thinking. You don't even know the preceded things that he think on the deep of a mind of a man. You don't even know the man's thoughts. How in the hell can you know the thoughts of the Lord? How can you comprehend his purpose? How can you understand that? How can you understand why he's going to do this, or if he don't do this? How can you do that? You can't even understand a man. Keep going.
Nay, my brethren, provoke not the Lord our God to anger.
Nay, my brethren, please don't do that, because you don't want not to provoke him to anger. Keep going.
Verse 15. For if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will, even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies.
Now, this sister was one West, man. She had a spirit of the Lord. She knew, like, hey, the Lord don't help us within these 5 days. So be it. That's his will. If he do, so be it. That's his will. If he wants to destroy us before his enemies, so be it. That is his will. Who are we to question the Lord? Who are we to comprehend why, to think to what he has going on when we can't understand a man's thoughts? Keep going.
Verse 16. Do not bind the counsels of the Lord our God, for God is not as man, that he may be threatened. Neither is he as the Son of Man, that he should be wavering.
So he's saying you can't threaten the Most High God. Who are you to be like, 5 days? Like, why? What makes you think God cares? Like, think about this. Well, man, I just gotta get my life right. I'm gonna get my, in 10 days, I'm gonna get my life right. If 10 days stuff don't go wrong, I'm gonna go back to my old ways. I'm gonna try this thing out. I'm gonna try this Israelite thing out. This is the Christian church. Why? Because Christians go in the church to get a prosperity. They stay in that church as long as they get the prosperity. And they don't, where they going? They leaving out to find a new one. Christians don't serve God. They put God on a time schedule. They like, well, shoot, I'm gonna get about 10 days. I'm gonna try this thing out about 10 days. Like, what makes you think God will be like, oh, she only give me 10 days. I gotta hurry and make some shake. What in the hell? What kind of thinking is that? Keep going.
Verse 17. Therefore, let us wait for salvation of him, and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice if it please him. Verse 18. For there arose none in our age, neither is there any now in these days, neither tribe, nor family, nor people, nor city among us, which worship gods made with hands, and hath been aforetime.
So she letting you know why you're so scared when we never been doing the things our fathers been doing. When we've been serving God, we never been serving no other gods. Everybody in this neighborhood, everybody in this land, all the children, the elders, everybody, we've been serving God. So why not put your trust in God? Just period. Why give him a time constraint? Keep going.
Verse 19. For the which cause our fathers were given to the sword, and for a spoil, and had a great fall before our enemies. Verse 20. But we know none other God, therefore we trust that he will not despise us, nor any of our nation. Verse 21. For if we be taken so, all Judea shall lie waste, and our sanctuary shall be spoiled, and he will require the how you say this one? Correct.
Where you at?
And he will require the verse 21. Profanation thereof at our mouth. Verse 22.
Yeah, it's like profane, right? So okay. Go to verse 23.
No sweat. Verse 23. For our servitude shall not be directed to favor, but the Lord our God.
Yeah, I want y'all to realize this is a sister saying all this stuff we just reading. This is a sister saying this. Now, and she's letting these men know, like, hey, this is the spirit that we need to have. This is the spirit that we read about. This is the spirit that our ancestors had. Why get low in faith now when we doing everything right? Now, I want 23s is so heavy. Go to read verse 23 again, and somebody please break this down to me. What is this?
Verse 23. For our servitude shall not be directed to favor, but the Lord our God. Say again.
What does that mean?
If I could get a crack.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, it's okay. It's like Christians. It's like it's not genuine. You're not genuinely serving. You're serving for something that can favor your life to benefit you. You're looking for.
Get that piece of hand. That's a cut for Christians. It should not be like I'm doing this because he's gonna give me. It's not a prosperity doctrine. I'm not serving God because he's gonna give me nice car. You shouldn't. It shouldn't be like that. Keep going.
Con. But the Lord our God shall turn it to dishonor. Keep going.
Drop down to verse 32.
No sweat. Verse 32.
Mm-hmm.
Then said Judah unto them, hear me, and I will do a thing, which shall go throughout all generations to the children of our nation. Verse 33. Ye shall stand this night in the gate, and I will go forth with my waiting woman. Mm-hmm. And within the days that ye have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, the Lord will visit Israel by mine hand.
So right now, what she's gonna say, like, okay, I got an idea. This is what we're gonna do. Now we're gonna find out what she done did. So what we have right now, the king just set his captain over the conquered nations, take away nations. They trying to go to Israel next. So Israel's, we are in a position where they gotta come by no more than 2 people, so they can't do it. So they just decide to cut off our water supply, so we die of thirst. And the people then say, well, everybody calm down. Remember, this is a nation they governing. They're like, everybody calm down. We're gonna get a lower 5. We're gonna get 5 days. We're gonna get saved in 5 days. Then we're gonna come and just bend the knee and we're gonna get some water, right? And Judith was like, she called him down there. She was like, why would you do such a thing to provoke the Lord to anger? Why would you put a time question on the Lord like the Lord serves you? What type of spirit is that? The Lord wants to save us. That's his will. If he wants to die by the hands of our enemies, that is his will. Who are we to question that? Now, but what we have been doing has been serving him. Have you not read what happened before when Israel was serving him? How he delivered us at the hand of the enemies? That's how we should be. She said, matter of fact, I have an idea. The Lord is going to visit Israel. They're going to deliver out my hand by the hand of a woman. And we're going to see how our sisters should be when they want to be clever. A lot of times, this is the heaviest part because our sisters think that being clever means you got to be naked. You got to get some shame. You got to sleep with a man to get your bills paid. You got to have an OnlyFans to get ahead. That is not how it's supposed to be done. God is not with that woman like that does that. Now, I'm going to skip something, y'all. Salagia. Go ahead.
If I could, I got a precept to what you're saying. If I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you was talking about the faith, what the sister Judith was talking about, the faith of the men and not having the faith in the Lord. And the one scripture we just read before that, when the Christians want to serve the Lord, and they don't do it genuinely. They say, I'm gonna just do it because I think I'm gonna get blessed. But I got a precept to that. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And that could be another precept to the Christians as well, because they don't diligently seek him. They seek him for favor. But the men and the sisters in the ISUPK, we seek him diligently. That's why we out here putting our bid for the Lord. We don't seek him for favor. So we know that if we seek him diligently, he will return his favor. He will be a reward. He will reward us. But y'all do it, out of just strictly favor. And you don't even really serve him, but you're not going to get anything in return. So right.
No, damn right, priest. That's like, and it's crazy because the Christians are supposed to know this. It's supposed to be in the scriptures. But you're going to find out that, Christians or anybody who's not in the ISUPK, because everybody who serves God does it for riches. That's what people do. You have a whole group out there who go around preaching that if you're a rich man, it's okay not to serve God. Just be a secret, what do they call it? What do you call it when people donate money?
Charity? They do charity events and stuff?
Yeah, like a silent party. You know how people donate money like a dang man, it's the tip of my tongue. I forgot what they call them. People who donate, you know what I'm talking about. Forget it. Basically, you know what I'm talking about. They love rich people. They love people who serve God because they want money and riches. When God is, that's not how God works. I'm sorry. When you make a lot of money, sometimes you be like, you need to rethink your life because you need to start seeing who's blessing you because the devil blesses too. It's funny because you would say, well, you would be somebody. Well, that Weinstein dude, what's that name? Harvey Weinstein, some of his name is, everybody know. He was like a child molester. But he's one of the richest people in the world. So why are you not, when you look at who got the most money in the world, it's something to equate that these people are the most wicked people on the planet. So why would you think why you would think God's with riches? I don't know. This is common sense, right? Keep reading. Where we at? Go to verse 3.
In the 8th chapter?
The 10th chapter.
That's right. The book of Judith, chapter 10, verse 3. And pulled off the sackcloth which she had on, and put off the garments of her widowhood, and washed her body all over with water.
So she was a widow, so she took off all her widow clothes, right? Sometimes widows had like sackcloth, like they didn't look as nice as they would if they had a husband, like with all their fancy jewelry on and garments and things like that. So now she's like, okay, well, I have an idea. I'm gonna go out there to meet with them, but I'm about to look good. This is a nice looking sister, but look at what it means to look good. Read.
And anointed herself with precious ointment, and braided the hair of her head, and put on a tire upon it, and put on her garments of gladness, wherewith she was clad during the life of Manasseh, her husband.
Right, so the same thing she had on when she was with her husband. Now, they didn't say anything how she went there, and she showed her cleavage. Did I read that right? Did she want to go put booty shorts on?
Wow.
No, I didn't read that. She looked like she what? She still look like what? She's a what? A modest woman, but this is how she did it look good, right? Keep going, verse 4.
Verse 4. And she took sandals upon her feet, and put about her bracelets, and her chains, and her rings, and her earrings, and all her ornaments, and decked herself bravely to allure the eyes of all men that should see her.
So that's what she did. But yet, all women think they gotta go out there and be naked to look good. I didn't read her it looked like she put on more clothes, huh? Yeah, how do you?
Right.
Good night.
Dripped up.
What was that?
She dripped up. She put that on.
Yeah, she had put it on. You didn't take it out of the closet. She said, I'm about to get right.
Good night.
Oh, we was reading this. All women today, they what? They were like, well, they took her clothes. She took her clothes off, put some high shorts on, her titties out. Good night.
Good night.
That's how they try to attract the man. And this sister did the whole complete opposite to allure her, to see for everybody to stop in awe, right? Now go to verse Judith chapter 10, verse 17.
No sweat. The book of Judith, chapter 10, and verse 17. Then they chose out of them 100 men to accompany her and her maid, and they brought her to the tent of Holofernes.
Right, that's the captain, right? So basically, they in their camp. So these sisters were her maids in their camp, where they camping at to go and destroy them. Now she's looking good, right? And they brought her to the tent of the captain, right? She's going out there. She's over there, acting like she has a plan to deliver her own people out the hands of them. So she's over there deceiving them, like, yeah, I got an idea for none of your man could die. She's looking good. So she's doing what? Being wise as a serpent, right? Verse 19.
Verse 19. And they wondered at her beauty and admired the children of Israel because of her. And everyone said to his neighbor, who would despise this people that have among them such women?
So these heathens looking at this woman like, damn, who is she? They like, man, that girl right there, fine, man. Who is this? Who would hate such a people with women like this? How can we hate them when they got women like this? That's what the heathens are thinking. Keep going.
Time. Surely it is not good that one man of them be left, who being let go might deceive the whole earth. Verse 20. And they that lay near Holofernes went out.
Go to Judith chapter 12, verse. So we gotta skip a lot through this. This is like 18 chapters. Go to verse 16.
It's the book of Judith.
Now this is when they finna have a feast. So she was dwelling with them 4 days, right? I believe this is right. She was in the camp for 3 days. This is the 4th day, I believe, right? Now, meanwhile, she's in this camp while people over there, they still going through what they're going through. She said, I'm gonna save my people, and they still damn near waiting, like, oh man, it's about 3-4 days. I don't know. I'm in the camp. I told my people 5 days, right?
It's the book of Judith, chapter 12, and verse 16. Now, when Judith came in and sat down, Holofernes, his heart was ravished with her, and his mind was moved, and he desired greatly her company. For he waited a time to deceive her.
So what that mean? For he waited
from the day
time to deceive her. But what do you mean? How is she trying? What do you mean? Why are you trying to trick her? We're gonna find out. Keep going.
Verse 17. Then said Holofernes unto her, drink now and be merry with us. Verse 18. So Judith said, I will drink now, my Lord, because my life is magnified in me this day more than all the days since I was born.
So what? He's making her drink what? Why would a man today, when they go to the club, make women drink? Get her loose, lay with her, huh?
Right. Woo her. So yeah, get her loose.
To deceive her, right? She might be more willing to do what she want to do when she got a little liquor in her. Keep going. Verse 19.
Verse 19. Then she took and ate and drank before him what her maid had prepared. Verse 20.
Verse 20.
And Holofernes took great delight in her, and drank more wine than he had drunk at any time in one day since he was born.
Right. Go to chapter 13, verse 2.
The book of Judith, chapter 13, and verse 2. And Judith was left alone in the tent, and Holofernes lying alone upon his bed, for he was filled with wine.
So he was drunked out. He was blacked out drunk, basically. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Now Judith had commanded her maid to stand without her bedchamber and to wait for her, coming forth, as she did daily, for she said she would go forth to her prayers. And she spake to Bag-oes.
Go to verse 7.
Verse 7. And approached to his bed, and took hold of the hair of his head, and said, strengthen me, O Lord God of Israel, this day. Verse 8. And she smote twice upon his neck with all her might, and she took away his head from him. Verse 9. And tumbled his body down from the bed, and pulled down the canopy from the pillars. And anon after she went forth and gave Holofernes his head to her maid. Verse 10. And she put it in her bag of meat, so they twain went together according to their custom unto prayer. And when they passed the camp, they compassed the valley, and went up the mountain of Bethulia, and came to the gates thereof.
I drop down to Judith chapter 14, verse 1. So what happened? Judith, her whole mission, this is what her whole mission was. She went there, she was looking good, and the captain they had a feast on like the fourth day, had a feast, right? Got her trying to get her to drink, and he the one who got drunk. Now they in a tent, right? Meanwhile, they think they tent alone, so what the guards thinking, they getting it on. He's blacked out on the bed, and she's seen this opportunity like, blessed be the God of Israel, because he delivered thy enemies in my hand, right? And she cut that boy neck off, hit it twice. There's a woman doing this. And she put it in a bag. She put the head in the bag, and she ran up, snuck out, and went to the gates where the children of Israel was at, right? Now go to verse 14, verse 1.
The book of Judah, chapter 14, verse 1. This said Judah unto them, hear me now, my brother, and take this head, and hang it upon the highest place of your wall.
So they gave this man was a renowned man. He was the right-hand man of the king. They took this man's head and placed it on the stake, man. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know exactly that is. They said put it on the high. She said put it on the highest wall. Keep going.
Verse 2. And so soon as the morning shall appear, and the sun shall come forth upon the earth, take ye every one his weapon, and go forth every valiant man out of the city, and set ye a captain over them, as though ye would go down in the field toward the watch of the Assyrians.
So she said, like, this is
not
down. Now let's go down there and let's kill him. Why? Because she just took this man's head, put it in the bag, came over there, and put it on the highest stake. Her people like, hey, this is it. They all hyped up. Cause what the Lord and then this is not because does the Lord go down there and talk to people like I'm with you? How do you see action? You be like, the Lord has to be with us. Ain't no way this girl came over here with this man's head. The Lord is with us. Let's go. Now, go to chapter of drop down to verse 14.
Verse 14. Then went into Bagoas and knocked at the door of the tent, for he thought that he had slept with Judith.
So his servant was like, he wouldn't go knock at the tent, like, okay, it's taking too long because I ain't interrupt you because I thought y'all was doing your thing, right? Keep going.
Verse 15. But because none answered, he opened it and went into the bedchamber, and found him cast upon the floor dead, and his head was taken from him.
Now go to verse 18.
Verse 18.
Verse 17. Shalagi.
Verse 17. After he went into the tent where Judith lodged, and when he found her not, he leaped out to the people and cried.
Why? Because he couldn't find it. He see that boy's head chopped off. Right?
Right.
So now he crying, oh man, what we gonna do? Now go to verse 18.
Verse 18. These slaves have dealt treacherously. These slaves have dealt treacherously.
Now this is the thing. This is what y'all women gotta understand. This woman was looking good. This sister was looking good. And when she walked throughout the candy, like, man, this is a nice sister right there. Who are these people? Well, why would somebody hate a people with such a good woman? And when we fight for what's right, what they say now? They did what? Read it again.
So these slaves have
these
dealt.
these niggas. That's
have
what white people
dealt.
say. When you a good black man, they cool with you. I don't hate black people. I got black friends. But when you do something that God approves of and they don't, then what are you? A slave, a nigger, a spick, a wetback. Everything changed. Everything changed. What? You were just honoring the woman. He said she looked good. What he said, these slaves. These people are slaves. See, the problem is everybody go out and you like compliments. But when you actually want to fight for freedom, if you're a woman who actually want to fight for something, watch the oppressor turn his back on you. When you're a woman and you don't want to have the right to abort your baby no more, why'd she call you a slave? Watch how dumb he calls you for wanting to stand up for the God of Israel, for your people. That's what a woman could do. We're reading a woman do it right now. We watch how a woman use her beauty to deliver her people. And she used her beauty. She didn't use her, her body. She didn't use her nakedness to get a point across. She did all this and kept her integrity. Kept her integrity, man. I'm gonna show you. Now, of course, you hear go to verse 19.
Verse 19. When the captains of the Assyrians' army heard these words, they rent their coats, and their minds were wonderfully troubled. And there was a cry and a very great noise throughout the camp.
Why? Because they found out that this happened. So now they are like, throughout times, you start losing a battle when what happens when you lose faith. These people that lost their faith, they scared now. They know what happened. Who they knew these people was? The Israelites, the Hebrews, and they like, oh damn. Damn. We done. And then cut this man's head off. They got their head on the wall. We out. We running away. We gone. They terrified because they know the Lord with these people. And that's how it's going to be on the day of the Lord, man. They're going to be terrified. Like, man, we didn't disrespect the God's chosen people so long. I told you to stop disrespecting black people. Them God's people better shut your white mouth. I told you that. And they didn't listen. Now we overcame that through the hands of a woman the Lord was with because they had faith. That's what it is about, brother. Having faith and not changing your integrity. So long you've been taught that, compromising your integrity to save your life is okay with God when it is not. Let me show you that. Read where you at?
That was verse 19 in the 14th chapter of Judith.
Go read it right under it.
8 or more verses in 14.
All right, jump down to 15, verse 5.
It's the book of Judith, chapter 15, verse 5. Now when the children of Israel heard it, they all fell upon them with one consent and slew them unto Shobai. Likewise also they that came from Jerusalem and from all the hill country. For men had told them what things were done in the camp of their enemies. And they that were in Galaad and in Galilee chased them with a great slaughter until they passed Damascus and the borders thereof. Verse 6.
Go to Salaki. I want to jump back to 13. This is before this is right after she cut her head off. I skipped it because it shows how important what she done did is. 13 verse 16. This is going to be our last verse.
No sweat. Book of Judith, chapter 13, verse 16. As the Lord liveth, who hath kept me in the way, in my way that I went, my countenance hath deceived him, to his destruction. And
my
yet
continence have deceived them to his destruction. Like, why is continence deceived them to destruction? Okay, so we were watching this movie. I think it's called Prey, right? Now, I'm not, got bad things about the movie, of course, right? How they want the roles to switch. But one thing she said was that she was able to kill the predator because he was not even threatened by her. So she said, my continence has deceived him into destruction, meaning what? Her spirit and her, how humble, like you don't look at her she didn't look as a threat because she looked like she's so respectful. She carried herself a nice way. He enjoyed her company. Her continence, her spirit has deceived them to his destruction. Right? And this is how our sisters should be. Right? Keep going.
And yet hath he not committed sin with me to defile and shame me.
And yet has he not committed sin with me to defile and shame me. I did all this without having to sleep with the man. I did all this without having to show my nakedness. The Lord is with us. The Lord is with that, sister. The Lord could be with you as long as you do his will. Stop sacrificing your integrity, thinking that God's with that, thinking that God knows what you got to do what you got to do to get by. God does not work like that. Who told you that? Who told you that because you poor, you got to make your OnlyFans to make it out the ghetto? Who told you that? The devil done told you that. The man of sin told you that. The great dragon told you that. The serpent told you that. That's who told you that. God did not tell you that because a woman is supposed to hold your integrity. You're supposed to serve God just like a man. Then Christ said, neither male nor female. What you think that means? You think men have a different way of serving God with a man and a woman? Meaning what? You think that men are holding to certain things that women are not? Last time I checked, men supposed to follow the commandments, so as you women. Y'all wanting equal rights. God deals with us like that. God deals with us equally. Y'all want equal rights so bad. God requires something of a man, so he will require something of a woman. But this sister did this, and God was on her side, and she didn't have to lose her integrity and put shame onto herself or her family or her husband. And that meant something to her. And you know how much you had to do? See, y'all sisters, y'all get deceived when y'all go put no clothes on, and all the men hollering at you. You think all the men love you. This sister went in there in the midst of her enemy, looking good, while all these people was complimenting her, inviting to her feast. Well, that sister had every chance to sit there and change on her people for a better life. And she's chopped this man's head off with no second guessing, because she knew who the enemy was. Like I said, being the weaker vessel does not make you weak. It don't. You should be bold. You should be standing by your man. That's what you should do, man. You should understand who the enemy is, and you shouldn't do anything that would jeopardize you and your people. Her going out there with no clothes on would have jeopardized her people. Would have put shame on her people. Simple things like that put shame to your people, man. You got anything to say, priest? And Shalakia, real quick. Shalakia, we had a lot more, but if we go, I recommend reading this. I might do another class on it because a lot more things is being said, and things when they pray. That's very good teaching lessons of how to know how the Lord works. A lot of people don't understand the Bible because they don't understand how the Lord works. It's the reason why people think that God loves everybody, because they had this image of God that you got to erase. This image of Christ you got to erase. Until you understand the Bible and understand that the Lord is a man of war. Right? You got anything to say, priest?
Yeah, if I could. What you were saying was heavy, because there was one point you was talking about the sister Judith, when he tried to get her to drink wine, to drink to drunkenness, so he could take advantage and deceive her and defile her body and shame her.
Right.
And I just had a quick precept because I just want to say another thing that you said, well, who taught you that? And you were saying, you know, the dragons, our oppressors taught us that. You know, the damn devil the Bible speaks of, because when you gotta understand, like that's why we say nothing new is there's nothing new underneath the sun. That's why the Bible says this. Back then they had men trying to do this. Now and then it's just, you know, it's just magnified. You have all different types of drugs you can use and different types of liquor, you know, to try to deceive a woman to lay with her. But I have this one precept that can stop that. If I could read it, priest.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
It's the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. And I brought that out to say that when she put on all her stuff and she put on her jewelry, her bracelets and all that, she looked good. And she did that just to get the eyes of them. But she walked in the spirit, did not walk in the flesh. But the man that was trying to get her, he didn't walk in the spirit because he don't know the Lord. She knew what she was trying to do. And he lusted after her. And by him trying to lust, he died at the hands of that. So I just want to make a precept to let the viewers know as well that you sisters walk in the spirit, man. Don't walk in the lust and let it fulfill your flesh. You know, that sister Judith, she understood when she came to serve the Lord, she got to prepare her soul for temptation. And that was the temptation when he tried to get her to drink to drunkenness. But instead, she stayed diligent and stayed down 10 toes and understood who her Lord was. And she said, I'm going to walk in the spirit and not let the lust fulfill my flesh. So like,
no, damn right, priest. Get that man a hand. Because what that sister did was something that we do every day, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to be of the ISUPK, it's not in it. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do to save your people, man. When I say do what you gotta do it in the spirit, like the priest just said. A lot of y'all think when somebody say do what you gotta do, you think about, you know, I gotta do every lustful thing, sinful thing to get my way across. A lot of people grow up in poverty, so they think the only way to get out of poverty is to sin, to rob from each other, to steal from each other. You know what I mean? For a woman to be whores, for a woman could sleep who she want to sleep with, but she could be a prostitute. And our culture has been diminishing, and there's a reason why Christ got to come and restore. We come out here and restore. We are repairers of the breach for our people. For we will bring back our holy name. For we bring honor back to our holy name. Because right now, sin is starting to become our culture. Back then, at one point in time, we would look down at prostitutes and harlots and whores. We would look down on them people. Now, whores and harlots are our culture. Our women want to grow up to be a whore. That's what they want to do. They want to grow up to have an OnlyFans. They want to grow up and say, they want to hide behind being a prostitute by saying, I don't date broke men. If you just want to be a prostitute, go ahead and say it. A sister like that, man, you weak. A real sister would have to sit behind her man with a job or no job. Or, you know, you just join an organization and when they say they man can only have one wife, you know, who love women, harlots, when, you know, a man can only have one wife and, you know, that man has to have a job. That man has to have a job to be in your organization. And you all sisters are going to say, we don't date broke. What they say, they channel, we don't date broke men without jobs in your organization. You know why? Because your sisters are a bunch of whores. That's why you have a whole bunch of whores in your organization. And that's why everybody get remarried because everybody's sleeping with who knows what. I bet it, you ain't going to say nothing because y'all signed that NDA. They signed that NDA, so they ain't going to say nothing. But over here, we love our women and we aspire our sisters not to be whores. That's what we want. We want our sisters to be strong. Why? Because Christ said neither male nor female. That's why, man.
So
you got anything else to say? Yeah, go ahead.
That's the real cult. Anything that's outside of ISUPK, and that's the real cult. They got to sign an NDA agreement. Over here, we speak about everything on the face of the earth. and you ain't gotta sign no NDA agreement. We speak
Real
the truth
talk.
of the Bible from the front of the book to the back, and they're over to sign NDA. That's the real code. Y'all need to start understanding something, man.
Yeah, like you said, Priest, like when they gonna realize, like I don't know why we said we a cult. Ain't nobody being forced to stay here,
right?
But we don't accept everybody. I'll let you know that real quick. That's probably why they call us a cult. But the thing about a cult is, Yahadi, is anybody could join a cult, but they don't allow people to leave. They got to sign an NDA. People leave, they end up dead. People end up dead over there. I'm saying, man, something going around. Some thing I ain't gonna say too much about it, but hey, man, they call us a cult because you can't handle what we say. The truth hurts. If you aspire to be a whore, Yahadiah, why are you getting mad at me for calling you that? Why ain't that the right term? I'm sorry. I see me a homosexual and I call him that's a gay right there. That's a gay man right there. And you take offense to it. I mean, what the hell? Ain't that what you are? But you take offense into it because you know it's wrong. Because you know it's not of God. See, you can't you a righteous man. You can't shame me. Oh, you follow the commandments, huh? You follow God's laws, huh? Don't you? Oh, you a child of God. Oh, you an Israelite. Yeah. You don't offend me with that. But as soon as I call somebody a whore, they get offended. As soon as I say somebody's gay, they offended. I mean, good night. This be the thing you want to be, though. So you can be the thing you want to be, but I can't call you by the correct term. Good night. I know you got something to say, Priest. Go ahead. I'm gonna end it off with that. What you guys say?
Yeah, you woke me up on a little bit. What you're saying is heavy, because the main people that I will say is, of course, it's the women in the world. They get to be called and do anything they want on the face of the earth, and with their little bent wrist buddies, their little Skittle packet buddies on the side of them, they can go and do anything as they please. But the moment righteous masculine men go and say, you can't do this because the Lord says it, or the Lord calls you this, and we're just reading the Bible, all hell done broke loose. We're misogynistic, we're narcissistic, and we're not masculine men. It says all types of names, but we just call a spade because the Lord called spade a spade. The Lord called spade a spade before us. We just repeating his words to let you know that the Lord said it. If you really say that you love the Lord and serve him, I'm just saying spade a spade. I see a man that likes other men. In the Bible, it says you're homosexual. So I'm going to read it as it is in the Bible, as it is written. Why we get so much backlash for saying the truth? Just like the priest said, don't nobody want to live the truth. The world tells you, live in your truth, live in your truth. But God, no, you want to live in your truth, something. I'm going to tell you who you is, the truth. So, man, I ain't got nothing else to say.
No, damn right, priest. Like you said, man, it is frustrating to tell somebody, like, it's frustrating to go there and just give the correct term for something and be wrong. That's all I'm saying. Shoot, now they got the pronoun thing. What's your pronouns?
Good night.
When you ask somebody their pronouns, they get offended. Oh, are you a him or her? They're like, damn, now I'm supposed to know. Like,
right.
Good night, man. And it's sad because we in the truth, we so priestly. We go there and respect the people. We don't call homosexuals the F word.
Oh yeah, don't do that. We're gonna get canceled.
We don't go there and do that.
Good night.
But we ungodly. When we gotta sit here and deal with this stuff and raise children in this stuff.
Right.
Ain't no more about the birds and the bees no more. Cap always like to use that. Ain't no more about the birds and the bees. You gotta do about the birds and the birds, the bees and the bees, the birds that look like bees, the bees that look like birds.
Good night.
The birds that think they're bees, but they got parts of a bird. You gotta have all that conversation, man. it's easier for me to be like, hey, these are people against God. That's it. That's what I'm saying. You are against God. You are against Christ. You are antichrist. You are homosexual, you antichrist. You are whore, you antichrist. Simple. You are antichrist. All right, let's get the security announcements.
Most High Christ. This is the ISUPK security announcement. For the ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, which can also be found in the book of Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and also in the book of Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny or any increase the Lord gives you. Give the Treasury Department a teacher, priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation.
Upcoming holy convocations. We got the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, which is the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days on Saturday, the 17th of December, 2022. This Saturday for 8 days. First, you can find us in 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 to 61.
If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and or scarf. That concludes the ISUPK security announcements. Passing the class back to Officer Kedaiwan.
All right, with that, we're going to Amadium, which means stand and face the east. All right, repeat after me. This is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim. Hayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malawaka. Taba'ah. Watazayaka. Hayah. Isha. Wataza. Kawa. Hayah. Shemayim. Lathandanawa. Lakam. Claw. Yawam. Wasalak Kawawakinawa, Kasalakinawa, Kawawakinawa, Walaa, Tabaya Anawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Kawashanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Ka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wahatapara, Lawayam, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And with that, we're going to give a curse salute to the brothers in Israel. Amadim Shabbat, Amadim Barak, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh, Barak. I'm going to give a curse salute to the sisters in Israel. Amadim Shabbat, Amadim Barak, Yahweh, Shema, Tan, Bahashem, Yahweh. All right, with that, dismissed.